Hey guys, this is Reverend Sean with the Centered Path, and we're going to go over more of our cheat sheet, okay? We're going to maybe redo some of the stuff as well. We're going over the 4 Brahma Viharas. So if you want to learn more about that, the different 4 things that we're going to concentrate on in the practice of our Buddhist practice, stick with me, and I'm going to show you some challenge things too that you can try. Now, the best way to approach your practice in daily life is with the 4 Brahma Viharas. People keep wanting to know, what do I do to become a Buddhist? What do I do to start the practice? How do I begin practice in this thing? Now, there's lots of good hints out there, but let's get into where the rubber hits the road. A lot of people say, well, you need to learn the 4 Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, which we've gone over on these. So if you go to thecenteredpath.org and you look up the download section, you can find this 2-page cheat sheet which will give you all of these, and we're going through them on video piece by piece by piece. Now hopefully this is working out, because I have another thing rendering on my computer and it may be loud, so I might have to do this one all over again, but we'll see what happens. So in the 4 Brahma Viharas, you heard of Brahma? Okay, Brahma is a god in Hinduism, and he's got 4 faces. Okay, and the 4 faces, this is directly taken from that. So Buddhism, remember, didn't like pop out all by itself. It was actually a transmogrification, if you will, of Brahmanistic and Hindu type cultural things that the guy, Siddhartha Gautama, already knew. He had been taught the Vedas. He knew about these things, and he knew well the teachings of the Brahmins. But what he did is he was seeing that those weren't working for him, because there was a lot more pomp and circumstance. There was a lot of religious stuff. There was a lot of dogmatic things and a lot of sacrifices, which he saw didn't make sense. And he also was really good at debating many of these guys. And some of them actually ended up converting to his way of life. Buddhism was what we call it these days. So one of the things he does explain, though, is the 4 Brahma Viharas. Viharas is like shelters, right? That's like places or holy areas, I guess you could say, a Vihara. And there's 4 of them. So the first one is Metta. Okay, sometimes you'll see people will write with Metta, which means loving kindness. Okay, it's a really nice thing with just, you're trying to be gentle, loving, and kind. Okay, and this is how you would react to a small child who is lost, for example. Or if you found a kitten that was lost outside, you would try to be, and it was friendly to you, you would try to be so loving and kind and protect it and help it out, right? These are the kind of the ideas we're trying to think of. The second one is compassion, which is karuna. Okay, compassion is being with the feelings of others, basically, and understanding their feelings. So when they have sadness, we understand that sadness. Doesn't mean we have to be sad too, but we understand the sadness and we understand where it comes from, and this is the development of wisdom also. The next one is sympathetic joy, which is mudita, and sympathetic joy is like being a good sport, is a basic of it. So when someone else wins, you're happy for them, even if they win against you. They're very happy because they worked hard on that. And it's one of the things that you can do to develop the way your personality and your mind is, to accept compliments and to give compliments very genuinely. And this is a good thing because it creates harmony in life. Okay, and the 4th one is called equanimity, or upeska. Okay, equanimity is seeing all things as equal in the most basic. Now you can go down the philosophical and historical and traditional rabbit holes on those and go crazy with the definitions, but these are working definitions that we can use today. Now, in our meditation practice, we're always looking at where to start. Now, people have unfortunately gotten stuck in this mindfulness practice, which is fine. That's just samatha. That is just being focused on one thing. Okay, whether it's the breath or a candle or a color or a shiny thing or whatever, that's fine. Okay, the sound of the wind, no sound. The feeling of your breath, the sound of your breath, the rising and falling of your chest. These are all those samatha, shamatha things that we can concentrate on that will help us build our practice as a meditator. But now we get into vipassana, and we're getting into like actually thinking about these things and mulling them over, or at least trying to develop them. Now, with some of these, or actually with all of these, we can in fact develop them through the sutras. One of my favorite one is the Metta Bhavana and Metta Sutra. Um, I'll probably have to read it because we have some other translations. You can find it online. It's very easy, but it's basically thinking about the most person and beings that you most adore and you're most close to you, and you could say you're most attached to, of course. But we're trying to show them loving kindness. May they be free from worry. May they be free from sadness. May they be happy. May they be free from affliction, which is like diseases. And may they find it easy to take care of themselves. And then you would go out, the next step on that one would be to think of some people you know that are your friends that you don't really like, adore. You wouldn't like let them stay at your house kind of thing. But you would, have them over for lunch. That's the next group. And the next group after that is people you'd see in the store and in the bank and on the road, and people that you recognize but you have interaction with, but not too friendly. I mean, you're friendly, but you're not friends with them, if it were. And then the next people are people you just pass by. Okay, we can think of those very easy. As you're driving, you see people that on the roads. And what happens when you do this meditation is you put all those beings, those people, animals that you drive by, animals that you walk by, animals that you see in trees or on the ground or whatever, you start seeing them and you're like, wow, yeah, they deserve this loving kindness too, and I can give them that loving kindness, and it doesn't cost you anything, and what it does is it increases it inside of you. And the last two that you're going to do, actually in this, the traditional ones, is people that you've had trouble with. People you're at odds with, someone you've had an argument with, someone you don't like, someone that picked on you when you were a kid, someone that is an enemy, okay? And then all beings in the universe, no matter what they are, all beings, whether they're from the sky or from the ground or from the water, whether they're living or long or short or tall or flat or round or whatever they are, coming into birth, leaving life, whatever they are, they ghosts or whatever it is, you can go through those and kind of think of those and develop this sense of kindness, this loving kindness. And that's the process of doing that meditation. Now, I posted this as a meditation for some political people that were really upset about things like when Donald Trump was winning or losing, and then Joe Biden. This is all American politicky crap. And whether you voted on them or not, just pick somebody that you really had a problem with and show compassion for them. Wish them happiness, because if you wish them happiness and they become more and more happy, they become less and less troublesome, and then they become less and less of an enemy. This is over time, of course, right? So that's Metta Bhavana. That's the first part. And then, or Metta Vihara, Brahma Vihara Metta Sutra, right? This is the loving kindness. The second one is compassion. And compassion is the development of feeling the same or understanding the feelings of others. So when you see a rabbit or some animal that like first freezes and hides from you because it's afraid, right? It's pre-programmed to be afraid of you. And then you get too close, it runs away. We want to understand that, and we want to have compassion for that by not disturbing them, because they're trying to just, live life into the next moment comfortably. And as we develop, we start to see that all animals, whether it's a bumblebee or a wasp or a spider or a dog, a stray dog, a cat, a homeless person, they all have feelings, they all have sensations, and we want to be able to understand those. And this is just one way to think of this, guys. So in your process of meditation of compassion, how can we have compassion for these and understand that they too are suffering? Remember the Four Noble Truths we went over before. There is suffering. Suffering has a cause, and that cause is, basically you can say it's either attachment, or you can go into the three poisons, which is like attachment, greed, enmity, and ignorance. You can say those three things, right? That attachment and enmity is anger, basically, and then ignorance is just not understanding. So we want to develop, we're trying to develop our minds, we're trying to develop our hearts, we're trying to develop these four things: the compassion, the loving kindness, right? And if we can do that. Now, if we go through, like I was saying with the other ones, I posted this, and I did another video on it as well, but I posted this on Reddit and Facebook and got blocked from 3 groups because they freaked out and they were like, this is Donald Trump's an evil man, or Joe Biden's an evil man, whatever it was, and doesn't deserve this. But see, that's where the practice comes into effect. That's where the rubber hits the road, guys. If you can't develop that kind of practice and understanding, at least some calmness, then we need a lot more to practice on. Okay. Third part is sympathetic joy. This is another one that we could do with those kind of things. So if you didn't like the president who's in now winning, you can at least congratulate him. That's sympathetic joy. That's being a good sport. Hey, good job. Hope you do well. Hope everything goes great for you. Someone wins the lottery. Rather than be envious, we're trying to get rid of envy, right? We're trying to get rid of jealousy. Be happy for them. Good job. You really worked on that. That was really well done. It's hard to do, especially when you're younger, because you're so used to I be mine. And later on, we can get into things like lifestyle and marriages and things like that. But it gets harder and harder as we get older. But we should be better and better because we've been working at it for longer, right? Now, the last one is equanimity. Equanimity means levelness. Okay, we see all things as equal. We understand that I am just as important or just as valuable as the ant, that the tree and I are interrelated, that we should be the same. This is one way to think of it. Okay, other ways to think of things are like all things. It gets twisted in Buddhism a lot, where you have people say, well, it's the way it's supposed to be. It's the karma. It is karma because karma, remember, all it needs is action. So yeah, it is a kind of karma. Is it good or bad? That depends on judgment. Now, that's the problem, because people say, well, equanimity would say that you have no judgment. That's not true. Okay, what it means is you see things as equal. Now, judgment happens. We are a judging being. Neurology forces us to be that way. We have a nervous system. That's what it does. Its job is to judge. Is this good? Is this bad? Do I want it to be close to it or far from it? That's basically what it is. So that's the 4 Brahma Viharas, actually. And I'm going to be going over more of these a little bit more in depth, and I want to do more on the meditation process, because a lot of people I noticed, especially on Facebook and Reddit, where I'm on there. Is Facebook, I have a couple little things. I just kind of poke around on those. And Reddit, I kind of look at as I'm sitting still 9 is my handle, I guess it is. And I'm in Buddhism and Buddhism for beginners and Zen Buddhism and mindfulness and a few other groups that I follow. And I see commonly these questions. And so that's what I want to ask, because I've been teaching this for so long, and because I've been actively teaching meditation and studying the neurology and teaching the neurology, actually, because I teach at the college level for anatomy and physiology, and that's what I'm trying to get into and understand better. So there's a few things I'm going to get into with the rest of the channel. So I hope you guys are doing well. Don't forget to subscribe below and hit that thumbs up button. That's completely free, because that helps the algorithm for other people to see this kind of stuff and motivates me to see more. It's kind of your way of having sympathetic joy and say, hey, good job. And the other thing is, apparently there's a bell somewhere you can click that, and it'll tell you when I upload again. I'm going to try to upload more often and get some more stuff going on these. And we're going to talk about some more controversial things in the future, so pay attention to those. There are some really fun ones and some really weird ones. Buddhism is a very weird religion. And yes, it is a religion in some cases, and yes, it is a spiritual path, and yes, it is just a thing. Okay, you can call it whatever the hell you want. That depends on how you practice it, which is the beauty of it, right? Anyway, this is Reverend Sean over the Center Path. I hope you guys are well. Be safe, be kind. We'll talk to you soon.